Hello everyone, and welcome to the free and live Learn the Basics of Joomla 2.5 webinar sponsored by CloudAccess.net. We are the official and exclusive host of the demo trial of Joomla at demo.joomla.org. Today I want to show you how to launch a Joomla 2.5 site from the Cloud Control Panel. We'll talk a little bit about templates for Joomla and customizing templates. We'll show you how to create content for a Joomla site, including categories, articles, and menu items. We'll create a few different modules for our site, and we'll also discuss a couple other core Joomla features. We're going to install an extension today called the JCE Editor, talk a little bit about the extension manager, and our goal today is not to create a fully functional site, but to just introduce you to the core components of the Joomla content management system. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about our platform in just a moment. But first I want to introduce myself. My name is Ryan Bernstein. I'm going to be your host and moderator today. And I want you to feel free to post questions to me in the GoToMeeting slide out question area, or you can tweet at me during today's presentation too. You see our Twitter address at the bottom of the screen here at CloudAccess. Usually I wait to answer all of your questions at the end of the presentation, but once in a while, if it's a timely question and it's relative to what I'm talking about at the moment, I will answer that question on the spot. A little bit more about our platform. We are a unique hosting company because we provide phone support as part of our comprehensive hosting and support platform. Not only can you get hosting support, but we'll help you with core Joomla or WordPress questions. And you can also submit online tickets to get help. Now, we also provide a managed backup service, and what that means is we save your work every day. And if you break your site somehow, we've got a copy of it, and we can restore it for you. More importantly, we provide you the tools within the Cloud Control Panel to back up your own website and to restore that website or download a copy of that backup, and you can take it with you wherever you go. Remember, Joomla is an open source software, which means whatever you create, you own. And again, you can take it with you. Now, we manage the Joomla platform for you. You can always launch a server and configure a database and then install the software. Again, we do all that work for you. We take all the second guessing out of the server-side setup, and we put Joomla in your hands immediately. You can launch a site, as you'll see here in just a few minutes. You can launch a site. Each demo trial is active for 30 days. You can upgrade to a paid hosting package at any point. Now, if you need a custom domain name, that's not a problem at all. You can always purchase one through our platform, or if you own a domain name, you can transfer that to our service, or you can point that domain name to your new site hosted with us. I am recording this webinar, and a copy of it will be available on our YouTube channel a little bit later today at youtube.com/cloudaccess. We have many subscribers, and if you subscribe to our channel, you'll receive a notification every time a new webinar or tutorial becomes available. I'm going to go ahead and close this presentation now, and I'm going to go to CloudAccess.net. And what I want to do here is first register for a site or register for an account. I've already done that though, and if you haven't registered for an account to launch a demo trial, click on the register button here, but I'm going to log into my Cloud Control Panel, and this is the CCP, or the Cloud Control Panel. This is the place where you'll manage and maintain your relationship with us. The Cloud Control Panel, it is a tool that's really at the heart of our platform. You launch all of your new products here. You can launch as many demo trial sites as you like. You can purchase hosting and support packages and launch additional sites. And you can submit new tickets and see all of your active tickets, view all of your invoices, and you can also register a new domain name. Now, a lot of these options are over off in this side menu as well. You can also manage your account, update your account details, or add contacts as well. Now, in the CCP area here, you'll see your products, and these are all of my free demo trials. You see, you get quick links here to help you manage each instance. You see the version that you're using of the specific content management system you're using, whether it be WordPress or Joomla, and of course you can upgrade, see how many days left you have in your free trial, and then you can also click on the Manage button here, and let's just click on this one. This is a WordPress 3.9 site. You have all of these different options available to help you manage the application. Now, I'll probably show off a few of these at the end of today's webinar, but all of these tools are here to help you manage that application. For instance, you can create a backup of the site or replicate the site, view the database for the site, do a number of different functions. Again, we'll do that a little bit later, show off a few of those, but we want to launch a new site. So let's click on the New Product button, and we're going to launch a new demo trial. So we'll click on the free demo hosting, and we'll select which tool we want to use, and today is a Joomla demo. So we'll click Joomla demo, and next we want to pick a domain name. Now, by default, the fourth option here, the last option, is selected for you. This is our most popular option. This is using a free subdomain. The subdomain is .CloudAccess.net, and you do have a few choices here, but more importantly, you create the beginning part of this domain. So I'm going to type in the bistro, because we're going to create a website today for a restaurant. And I've done a little bit of work kind of planning out what I want the site to look like, and category structure, and I've gathered some imagery for the site. And so I've done a little bit of planning beforehand, and you probably have a good idea of how you'd like your site organized. So the other options here include transferring a domain name to our service, registering a new domain name, or if you already own a domain name, you can either point that to our service or, again, transfer. Let's go ahead and click on Next Step, and we'll see if that subdomain is available. And first we need to select which version of Joomla we'd like to use. We are going with the 2.5 version today. And now 3.3 is the latest release. It is a short-term stable release of Joomla. It is a major release, though, and it is very, very functional. And if you're just learning Joomla for the first time, we suggest that you launch a 3.3 site today. There are a lot of benefits to doing so, but 2.5 is the long-term stable release of Joomla. We expect the next long-term stable release will be 3.5, and it will be released later this year in 2014. We also have older versions of Joomla available, including 1.5, which actually has reached its end of life. And there's no real reason to launch a 1.5 site anymore. You're much better off going with a 2.5 or a 3.3. But let's go ahead and click on Next Step for our 2.5 site. And it looks as though our subdomain, the bistro.cloudaccess.net, is available. And I'm going to go ahead and check out. Now remember, no payment method is needed. This is our free demo offer. So I'm going to complete my order. Don't need to have any payment information recorded with us as you launch a demo trial. And what's happening right now is Cloud Access is grabbing that 2.5 package from our repository, and it's launching the site. And I'm going to receive a confirmation number in just a moment. And I'll also receive a welcome email. The welcome email will contain details on how to access the site, which is, of course, really important. It'll also give me some links on some tools that I have available to me to learn about Joomla. So here's that confirmation number, and I do have my email open in a separate monitor, and I've already received my welcome email. So what I can do right now is go to my second monitor. I'm going to open up the bistro.cloudaccess.net and pull it over here. So this is what my website looks like right now. This is the bistro.cloudaccess.net, and you see it's full of Joomla information. We have our menu at the top here and a banner, our font size indicator, and our search module up at the top. These are side menu modules here and a login form module. This is a featured article menu item type here in the middle. If we scroll down to, we have some custom HTML modules and the Joomla copyright at the bottom of the page. This is all part of this site's sample data. And I'm going to show you how to delete this sample data as we create content of our very own. So the site is going to change quite a bit today, and we'll customize it quite a bit. Now, one of the downfalls of launching that 2.5 site is the sample data. If we kind of scroll through some of this content, you see there are many, many modules and articles published, and we actually have, if I go to Parks Home here, we have websites within our website. I can always click back on the home page to get back to that main landing page for the site. But the sample data for this site is really expansive, and that's what we're going to talk about at first when we get into the back end. We're going to delete this content again as we create our own. Now, in that welcome email, you also have a link to log in to the back end of the site. So if I click on this link, this again from my welcome email, I'm going to pull that over. This is the Joomla administration login area. And you have a username and password that's included in the email that you received when you launch the site. I'm going to copy and paste those into the appropriate fields here. and then I'll log in. Now this is the Joomla administration area. It's also referred to as the backend. And you can do a number of things here. You can create articles, categories, add different file types to your media manager. You can create menus and menu items. You can create users and user groups and access control levels. This is something we're going to talk about in the next webinar of this series. And I didn't mention that yet, but this is the first course in a two-part series. And later this week we're going to host a 2.5 Beyond the Basics. And I do hope you can attend that. I'll show you where to register a little bit later on. You can also create modules for your site, put different modules in different positions. You can install extensions, set some language settings. There's a global configuration area, the template manager to manage those templates. You can edit your profile, or these buttons are new to Joomla 2.5. You can look for any updates for Joomla itself or any updates for extensions that you may have installed in the site. A lot of these options are available in this upper menu as well, and we'll cover a lot of them today. If you want to see the front end from the back end, you can click on this View Site link in the upper right-hand corner here. That will take you to the front end of the site, or if you'd like to see the back end from the front end, at the end of your URL, you can type in a /administrator. And that will also take you to the back end of the site. Now, again, as we first start here, we want to talk about this template. Now, templates in Joomla manage the overall look and feel of the site. They tie things together like your menus and your menu items and your different modules and your site content, your articles and your categories. And this template is the default template that's launched with your site. It's called Bees 2. And so let's just illustrate in the back end. If we go to our template manager, we can access this right here, or go to extensions and template manager here. We see a list of templates. There are 6 templates installed for your Joomla site, and some of them are for the site, which means the front end, and then 2 of them are for the administrator, which means the back end. You can see which template is your default template by looking at where this star is in the default column. So right now for our administrator, we're using the Blue Stork template, and for our site, we're using the Bees 2 template. If I change the Blue Stork, let's change this to Hathor here. Let's change the star in the default column. We'll see a change in our site. So this Hathor template was developed to have elements stand out differently. Tables look a little bit different. The icons look a little different. And you know, I've grown accustomed to the Blue Stork template. I do want you to notice the blue message here. Whenever you receive this blue message in Joomla, it means you've done something successfully. You've made a change successfully. And right now, we've only made one change. We just changed our template. I'm going to change it back to Blue Stork again. That's what I've grown accustomed to. We get the blue message again, and whenever you receive the blue message, it means you're moving in the right direction. You may also receive a red message or a yellow message. The red means you didn't save something successfully, or there was an error somehow, and there's also a yellow message, which is a cautionary message. We'll probably see both of those today as we develop a little bit. There are many administrative templates out there that you can go and find and install in your site. Now, let's change the front-end template. Let's change this from Bees 2. Let's change this. Let's just put this at the Atomic template. Let's select this. We get our blue message. Let's return to the front end and refresh the page, and we'll see a different layout for the site. And a lot of our content is the same, right? We still get our menu and our search function. We have a site title that appears, and our content side menus, they go off to the right now with our login form, our imagery at the bottom. Now, depending on which template you install, the content is going to be displayed differently. And we have a great template at our site that I'd like to show to you now. We've developed this template. I'm going to go to CloudAccess.net. It's a great tool to help you learn. And speaking of tools to help you learn, if you go to training and you go to our knowledge base, we have hundreds of how-to documents, over 350 of them actually, in different categories here that can help you learn. Now, let's go to the Joomla category here, and you see we have Joomla 3 or 2.5 or 1.5. Let's go to our 2.5 category, and here are all of our subcategories. I'm going to go to the Cloud-Based 2.0 template category here. The Cloud-Based 2.0, again, is a template that we developed. And we do recommend using this as you develop and start learning Joomla. It's a great tool to learn from. And let's go ahead and go to the demo download and install article here. And what we have here is a number of links to help you learn about the template and download and install it. So let's go ahead and click on the demo button for the Cloud-Based 2.0. This is what this template looks like. It has a logo at the top, our menu, our search function. We have some imagery in here, and you can kind of see if you scroll down some of the presets and colors. We did build this template using the Gantry framework, which is really a useful tool, again, to help you really customize the website. So we'll show you all of this once we install it. But as you're looking for templates, undoubtedly you'll go and you'll look for a different template developer. We do suggest you look for a module map. Let's click on this module map here. And definitely find this. Before you install any template in your site, you want to view all the positions you have available. So this is the Cloud-Based 2.0 module map. I'm going to leave this page open. I'm going to refer back to it a lot as we develop content. And we have all of these different positions to pick from. In the demo, you have the main menu, you have your logo and the header A, and there's all these different positions. This is where our main body content goes. Again, we'll refer back to this a few times today. Let's go back to our article though, and we want to download the Cloud-Based 2.0. So let me select this button, and this is going to be a zip file. I want you to notice right here that this is the Cloud-Based 2.0 for Joomla 2.5. You wouldn't want to install this in a 3.0 site, but notice that it is a zip file here. This wouldn't work in a 3.0 site. Again, when you install any type of third-party extension, and that includes a template, you have to make sure it's compatible with the version of Joomla you're using. So I'm going to put this in my Downloads folder and save it. Looks like I already have a copy there, but that's okay. Let's replace it, get the most recent version, and let's go ahead and return to the back end of our site. And we're going to install this template. But we don't do this in the template manager here. First, if you want to return to that main control panel area, you'll go to the control panel right here. Go to Site Control Panel, and we're going to go to our Extension Manager to install an extension. So we'll go to Extension Manager here, go to Extensions and Extension Manager in the main menu. And what I'll do is I'll choose that file from my computer. So we're going to the Upload Package File area and choose the file. It's underneath the Install tab. I'll go to my Downloads folder. Let's select that Cloud-Based 2.0 zip file. Once the name appears in the field here, we can click on Upload and Install, and we should receive a blue message once it's ready. So give it just a second. Sometimes they can take a moment to install. So here's the blue message and our green check marks. Now, again, we built this template on the Gantry framework, which is a very popular framework for Joomla. And we want to go and start utilizing this template. Now, just to illustrate, if I return to the front end and refresh the page, nothing's going to change because we're still using that atomic template. But let's go to the back end, and let's go back to Extensions and Template Manager here. Of course, you can always go to Site and Control Panel, and then select that Template Manager quick icon here. And so here's all of our templates, and notice how the Cloud-Based 2.0 appears here. Joomla recognizes it. We installed it. We got that blue message, so we know that we're moving in the right direction, and I can click on this star here to change my default template. So I've changed to the Cloud-Based 2.0. I get my blue message. Let's return to the front end and refresh the page. And here's the Cloud-Based 2.0 with our same content. It doesn't look like the demo because that wasn't the content that we installed. We just installed the template, and it's featuring all of the menu items in our main menu and our featured article menu item type. Again, we're going to show you how to delete this content. And notice our side menu modules. Those don't appear in this template because the positions don't match the original positions that were assigned. And that's okay. We're going to delete those old modules and create new. So we do want to start creating content for our site, but let me just show you a few options of the template you have in the backend for configuring. If you click on the template name here, you can open it up and start developing. Give this just a moment to open up here, and it is a really versatile template. Many options for configuration, and that's what you're going to want to look for as you install the template. Give this just another minute to load. Here it is. Notice all these different tabs at the top here. You have your overview, which contains that module map, again, really helpful. You have style and features, menu layout, so many different options for customization. So if you do find a third-party template and you install it in your site, but it doesn't have these options, you're going to want to get rid of that template. You're going to want to find something that allows you to do a lot of customization. So let's just illustrate. Let's go to Style, and notice how you have an option here for the background pattern and color and module header colors and all sorts of different colors for the site. We're just going to illustrate one. Let's just change our background here. So right now we have this these vertical stripes, and they're okay. They look okay, but we want to customize that a little bit. Let's select a different pattern. Let's just go to pattern 2 and click on the Save button here. And we get our message up here that the content was saved successfully. Let's go ahead and refresh. And we get just a slightly different background for the back end. I actually like pattern 10. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to select pattern 10 here and save. It is possible to get a custom image as your background or your own design. Let's refresh, and we get sort of these the checkerboard background. I kind of like that. So we'll talk about some more customization a little bit later, but for now, let's we're going to save and close the template. This will return us to our template manager. Again, I will go back there a little bit later. You can, if you want to learn about FTP, file transfer protocol, you can upload a customized background to the site. It's a little bit more involved process, a little bit more technical. But again, we're just covering the basics in today's webinar. Let's go back to the control panel. And from the home page, again, we want to create our own content for the site. But there's something I want you to know. And I do want you to write this down. This is going to be really helpful as you develop. Okay, there's an order of operations or a structure that's inherent in Joomla that helps you create content for your site. You first have to create categories, and then you have to create articles, and you save articles into categories, and then you connect articles to menu items. So it's like connecting the dots. It's a three-part structure for creating content and displaying content on your site. You have many different menu items to choose from. And the categories, they exist primarily in the back end of your site, but that's where you want to start. You want to start with the category. So if we go to the back end of our site, let's go to our category manager here, or we can go to Content in Category Manager. I really like the file folder icon that's used for the category manager because it really is a file folder system, and it exists in the back end of your Joomla site. And you can display your categories on the front end if you like. But most of the time users just have them in the back end. And if you scroll down here, you'll see that there are a lot of categories in our site. In fact, we're not even displaying all of them. We're only displaying 20. Let's go ahead and display all the categories. Scroll down, you see there are even more than 20 there. Quite a few. Okay, so you have to have categories for your content, but this is one of the downfalls of 2.5. In later versions of Joomla, in 3.0 or 3.3, there are just a few categories. Actually, I believe there's only one category. And that's really helpful as you develop because we don't need all of this content. You want to create your own unique site. So what we want to do, we want to clean up first before we create our own categories. So let's select all of these. Let's select every single category we have, and we're going to delete them. And I'm going to click on the trash button in the toolbar after we select all of those. Let's trash those. And I get the blue message letting me know we trashed 25 categories. They actually still exist on our site. We haven't permanently removed them. We're going to do that a little bit later towards the end, but we want to create our own categories. So we got rid of those, and we'll delete everything else we don't need a little bit later. I'm going to click on the new button to create a new category. And whenever you create a new category, a menu item, a module, you're going to want to pay attention to these little red asterisks. This is the required information. The only thing I need is a title. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new category, and I'm going to go ahead and title that, let's see, General Information. Now if I click on Save in the toolbar, I get the blue message. It saves the category for me, but it keeps it open for me to work on. Now I can also select Save and Close in the toolbar. That will kick me back to my category manager where I see my one published category. I'm going to go ahead and open it back up. Click on the name. The best part about creating content in Joomla is it's never permanent. You can always open it back up and edit, create the category. You can also create subcategories if you wanted to. nested categories. It is organized in a parent-child relationship. You can unpublish the category, change access levels. Again, stuff we'll talk about a little bit more in our Beyond the Basics webinar later this week. But I just want to illustrate, if you select Save and New, you can save the old category and create a new one. So let's create a new category for our menu items. And let's do Save and New. We're going to create a category for our blog. We're going to create a blog in the webinar and the Beyond the Basics later this week, but let's call this one the Bistro Blog. And let's do Save and New. I think we should do one more category. Let's call this one Reservations and Locations. And let's select Save and Close at this point. So we've created 4 categories to help us save our content, and as you develop your site, ask yourself, how many categories do I need? If it's not a huge site, you may only want 1 category. But again, to do an article search quickly and effectively in the future, especially if you're going to have a lot of content, you're going to want to create those separate categories and stay organized. So our next step, remember, is to create our articles. So we're going to write a few articles now, so we need to go to our article manager. Going back to the back end, let's go to Site and Control Panel, and we can open up our article manager here or go to Content and Article Manager. Again, if we look at all of these articles, there's a lot of content in our site. And this is all part of the sample data, and it's kind of too much. It's kind of information overload. Too many articles, just a ton of them. Okay, so what we want to do, just as we did with our categories, let's select all of our articles, and let's see if we can throw them in the trash. They're still in our site, so we trashed 68 articles, and they're still in our site. I'll show you how to access those deleted articles a little bit later. But if we go to our front end now, let's refresh the page. Let's see what happens. Our content disappears, and that's because we trashed those categories. We still have our menu items because we haven't deleted those yet, which we will in just a little bit. But we want to create our own content. We want to create our own articles in the back end. Let's just do 1 at this point. We'll come back and create a few more later. Just as we did with our category, we'll click on the New button to create a new article. And I want to create a title for this category. So I'm going to title this one, Welcome to the Bistro. Now, which category do I want to save this in? Of course, paying attention to the asterisks. I want this in my general information category, but you can see the 4 categories I created here. We'll select general information, and I also need some article text. So this is my editor that comes with my Joomla site. This is called the Tiny MCE editor, and there aren't a whole lot of options for formatting your text in this area. For instance, let's just put in some sample text now. If I wanted to change a font or change a color or the font size, I can't do that with this editor. It's really, really limited with functionality. Only the most basic functions are here. So I actually want to reach outside of Joomla and install a new editor. And this is one of the coolest parts about Joomla. Now, you already saw that we could extend Joomla by installing that Cloud-based 2.0 template, but we want to install an extension now. Let's go ahead and select Save and Close on this article. We'll be kicked back to our article manager. Here's the Welcome to the Bistro article. We're going to come back to it in just a minute and continue writing that article, but I want to show you how Joomla is extendable. Okay? If you go to the extensions directory, you can start browsing extensions. So go to the Help tab here and go to Useful Joomla Links, and you can go to Joomla Extensions. This is going to take you to an external site, which is extensions.joomla.org. There are over 8,000 extensions in the community available. These are extensions for Joomla 2.5 and Joomla 3.0, and there's also older archived extensions for Joomla 1.5. But notice here how there's this random new extensions in the directory here. Some of them are modules, some of them are components, and some of them are plugins. And sometimes a component will come with modules and plugins. So there are 3 basic types of extensions you should be aware of: components, modules and plugins. Components are really large pieces of software that you add to the site. There are many different parts to the software, different configuration options, and a lot of times components will come with modules that you can feature on the front end of the site, and also plugins that you can enable to add additional functionality. So components are really large, plugins are really small, and modules are somewhere in the middle. And that's important to note, if you're at a hosting company and you're installing data into the site, it's important to keep track of what you're installing and not to install too many extensions. Whenever possible, we say if you can accomplish something using core Joomla functionality, you should do it. But as you can see in that editor, we don't have a whole lot of core functionality. What we want to do is we want to search for a new editor. So we're going to go to the editing category here. Let's open this up. And just to illustrate, you can always search for a specific extension up top. But here we get a list to different editors available. And we're going to install this editor, the JCE. It's the Joomla Content Editor. This is the most popular extension for Joomla. More people use this editor than any other editor available. So notice it is a component, and it has some plugins and some specific add-ons. These specific add-ons are for other extensions that you install, that you can incorporate different extensions together. So let's go ahead and click on JCE. This is going to take us to the landing page in the directory, and I always like to scroll down and see reviews, and you see there are many great reviews of the JCE editor. And you can also demo the editor, see if there's support or documentation available. We want to download though, and really important, make sure that it is compatible with the version of Joomla you're using. You see here this is compatible with Joomla 2.5 and 3.0. We're going to download though. This is a free editor. Okay, you see type free download. Sometimes you'll see a paid extension. There are many paid extensions out there you need to purchase, and we don't want to show favorites, and we know there are many other good editors out there, and you should really find the best one that works for your site. This is convenient for us because it is a free editor for our site, really increases our functionality. Let's go ahead and download the JCE. This is going to take us actually to the Joomla Content Editor.net site, and which editor I want. Again, make sure I get the one that's compatible with my site, Joomla 2.5. Let's select it, and let's scroll down here. We have a number of options here as well. So we have a zip file, and we have the tar archive. So we don't want the tar archive, we want the zip file, and there are a number available. So which one do we want? I always like to go with the most recent version. This is the beta. I want to avoid the beta. For now it probably works great, but the most recent version I see of the zip that's not the beta is this one from December of 2013. Let's go ahead and download this package. I'm going to put it in my downloads folder. I actually have a copy of it here that I downloaded earlier in the week, but let's save this. And once it's done downloading, I can return to my Joomla site and install it. So the JCE is downloaded to my computer. Let's close some of the windows we don't need here. There's a lot of great documentation here on how to learn how to use the JCE. We do have documentation on our site as well. If I return, let's go to training, go back to our knowledge base, just kind of show off here. If you go to additional resources, open up the JCE category, we have a number of documents on how to accomplish different tasks using the JCE, but I want to show you how to install it and perform some of these functions right now. So let's close some of the windows we don't need here, return to the Joomla site, and we want to install that extension. Just as we did with our template, let's go to Extensions and Extension Manager. We're going to install that, go to that Upload Package file, choose that file from our computer, and select that JCE zip right here. And once the file name appears, I'll click Upload and Install. Just a moment while that extension installs into my site. Here's the green or the blue message letting us know the installation is complete. Some other information from JCE here, some useful stuff. But the next step, just as we had to tell Joomla to make our template, our default template, we also have to tell Joomla to make our editor the active editor. Let's go back to our control panel. I'll show you a new area we haven't been yet, which is global configurations. And that's right here. And the word global makes sense. We're going to make a global change to our entire site, which means we're going to change, for everything. Every time our editor appears, it'll be the JCE. So click on global configurations here, or go to site and global configuration. And there's a lot of information to learn about here. You have some site information with some metadata settings to help people find you on the internet, SEO as well to help people find you through search engines, and you have a site name here. It might be helpful to change that. In fact, let's just change that right now. Let's select all of this. We're going to change this to the bistro. But the item we're looking for right here is default editor. And right now we're using the tiny MCE. We want to change that to the JCE editor. Joomla does recognize it. We just installed it. Let's go ahead and select Save. Get our green message, or our blue message, sorry. A number of other options here, though. You can look at system and server informations. Permissions and text filters, these are really useful. Now, on the Beyond the Basics webinar that we're going to host later this week, I'm going to come back and show off the permissions for Joomla. If you do add users and want to give those users different levels of access for your site, click on the Permissions tab here. But we don't want to do that at this point. So we're going to select Save and Close. And we want to go back to our Article Manager. Let's go ahead and open up our Article Manager. Let's open up the Welcome to the Bistro article we created. And I want you to notice now how we have many more options within our editor, right? Many of these functions you're going to be familiar with if you've used any type of word processor in the past. Many of them are, pretty obvious. And you, of course, can kind of play around, get the font that you'd like. I want to show off a few of these functions you may not be familiar with. And one of them is looking at the HTML source code of the editor. You can click on this link here, Toggle Editor, to look at the basic HTML, or go back, or click on this button within the JCE. This is, again, source code, or the HTML version of the article. And you don't need to know HTML to work with Joomla, but it can be useful. For instance, if you ever want to embed a YouTube video, this is one way to do it. You'd embed the iframe code into the HTML here. Let's go back. Let's show off a couple more versions. I'm going to save my work. I like to save frequently. But notice you don't have a whole lot of room to work with this article. You can use this little drag and drop feature to kind of expand that and have a larger area to work with, or click on this button within the JCE to expand to full screen mode. That will give you more of a distraction-free writing mode so you can view more of your content. Let's talk about inserting an image into the JCE. Okay. First, I'm going to minimize. Let's go back to this mode. And I want to put my cursor where I want my image to appear. And I want that to appear before my text. In fact, before we actually insert that image, let's go and get some better text that we can use. I'm going to go to the internet and search for lorem ipsum. And this might be helpful for you too. Search for lorem ipsum. It's just filler text. So if I don't actually have my content written yet, I can grab some filler text here and insert it into my site just to fill up some space. So I'm going to grab this paragraph. I'm going to copy it. This is what it's for, and I'm just going to paste that lorem ipsum in there. I do want you to notice how there is some formatting here, right? We have our bold title, and we have a font with this, and it's kind of block text. That's web formatting from this page, and the common action is to copy and paste from, especially like a Microsoft Word document. If you've written your article in a Word document or some other type of word processor, a lot of users want to copy and paste that content directly into the article text area. But you don't want to do that, actually. Let's delete this content. You want to click on this button within the editor. This is going to help you paste as plain text. It's going to remove that formatting. And that's helpful because a lot of times users will create tables or add different styles using a word processor, and that's the formatting for that processor. It's not web formatting. So you want to paste as plain text and insert. And so I get rid of my font, I get rid of my block text, I get rid of the bolded title there, and then I can use my editor to format. Okay, so for instance, let's create a heading out of this. This title here, we want to create a paragraph, and I'm going to scroll down. You have many options here for formatting. I'm going to select heading 2. And this is helpful for a number of reasons. It helps content, of course, stand out differently, but I want to also make sure I'm keeping search engines in mind. And if I go back to that HTML source code, I'll show you why creating headings are important. The search engines index these little H2 tags and H1 tags. So if you did a heading 1 or a heading 2, your search engine is going to eventually index that content, and you'll start. That's just one of the tips to help people start finding you on the internet. So it is helpful to create that heading 1 or heading 2 tag. Again, many other styles available. You can create buttons and all sorts of things within the editor, and headings and code samples, all sorts of different styles. Let's insert that image finally. So I'm going to put my cursor where I want the image to appear, and I can click on this button below the editor, and this is the core Joomla function regardless of the editor you have. You can click on this button to insert an image. I want to use this feature though within the JCE. This is the image editor that comes with our JCE, and it's really, really useful. So I'm going to click on this little picture frame, and what I can do at this point is I can upload an image that's already in my media manager. Now there are several images that come with our Joomla site by default, and a little bit later you're going to want to clean these images up. Again, if I click on one of these Joomla logos, you see that I get my Joomla logo down here. The properties are included up top. I get the preview, and it's ready to insert. But I want to get my own image for my computer. So I'm going to go to my upload button, and again, that's this button over here, the little picture frame with the arrow on it. Click on this, and then I'm going to browse my computer. And I'm going to go to my documents. Again, I've done some work getting some imagery together. I'm going to go to webinar images. Oops, wrong folder. Let's go to webinar images right here. I'm going to go to the restaurant folder I have right here, and I want to select my, let's see, I want to get, there's an image of a couple dining here. I'm going to select this image. 2 people eating at a restaurant, and I'm going to upload. Now, I've already resized that image for my article. So I've uploaded that to my media manager. Again, this is only 145 pixels by 204 pixels. You do want to make sure your images are down to size before you get them into your site. You can change dimensions here a little bit. Let's click on this. Notice how if I click on the file name here, my preview is complete up at the top. I get the URL, the path to the image, and I can change the dimensions or the alternate text here if I'd like to. Let's go ahead and insert at this point though, and there I get my couple dining at the restaurant. Now, a couple things I don't like about this right now. My text isn't wrapping around the image. Let's talk about text wrapping. If I highlight the image again, I can go back to the image manager, and watch what happens in the preview area here when I select left alignment. The text jumps up and around the image. It is rather close to the image though. I can add in a margin, and I'll put in 5, and that's for pixels, and that will stay equal values on all sides. So let's go ahead and update. So the text jumps up and around the image, and you know, there's a lot of other useful features within this editor. Perhaps I'll show you a little bit more later. You can click on this button to link to an internal article on your site or an external URL. You can create anchors for the site, spell check, of course. The Read More button is something we're going to talk about a little bit more in the Beyond the Basics webinar. You can, let's see, create tables, really useful, and indent and outdent, create ordered lists or unordered lists, subscript, things like this. Really useful. For now, let's go ahead and save and close our article though. So here's our article, welcome to the bistro. Returning to the front end, we don't have anything appearing. And that's because, remember, we still have that last step. We need to create a menu item. Okay, so in our Joomla site, we already have many menu items, and those are appearing on the front end in this upper menu. And this is the navigation bar. If we go back to that module map, here's that navigation bar. This is a module. that's in our site, and we're going to keep that module, but we want to replace those menu items that appear. So we don't want the site, we don't want any of this content. We want our own content. So in the back end, let's go back to our control panel, and we're going to go to our menu manager now, or of course go to menus, menu manager here. Notice listed under here you see all the different menus that are in our site. There are 6 menus to start our site. Let's go to our menu manager, and here are those 6 menus. And just as we did with our categories and our articles, we want to delete any content we don't need. Okay, so I want to keep this menu. It's the main menu. It has 11 menu items on it, but things like About Joomla, there are 89 published menu items. I want to get those out of my site. So first, let's select all of our menus, but I'm going to deselect main menu. I want to keep that one. And let's go ahead and throw those in the trash. So we'll click delete. And unlike before, where we can still access our deleted categories or articles, this is actually a permanent change. So this warning is saying we're going to permanently delete these menus and the menu items. Do we want to do that? I'm going to click OK. We're going to get those out of our site completely. So we deleted those 5 menus, and we only have our one menu, the main menu, still on our site. If we return and refresh, we can still see that those menu items are still here, and we want to get rid of those menu items, those 11 menu items. Some of them are root level menu items, and then of course some are drop-downs as well, but you see this would add up to 11. So in the back end, let's open up the main menu, and just as we did with our categories, our articles, and our unneeded menus, we want to delete our unneeded menu item types, and it's anything that's not the home page. If I tried to delete the home menu item type, it wouldn't let me because this is our default home page, right? This is our landing page when people visit our site. We have to have at least one active menu item. So let's select all. I'm going to deselect home. Okay, we're going to keep that home menu item. Select all those others, all the other ones, and throw them in the trash. Now, those are deleted. I can access them a little bit later and delete them permanently from the site. But if I return to the front end now and refresh the page, you see now I only have my home menu item. So now I'm getting down to just the content I need, right? And this is a featured articles menu item type, and we want to edit this a little bit. Let's go ahead and open up the home menu item. A lot of things to look at when you create a menu item. Number one is the menu item type. Again, it's a featured article, and a featured article menu item type pulls different articles from different categories, and will feature multiple articles on one page. We've only created one article though, and we actually suggest that you don't have a featured article menu item type for your homepage. We really recommend a lot of folks just do a single article. But let's go ahead, if it's a basic brochure company site, we're going to change this. And you have many options for menu item types. You can do contact forms, smart search fields and search fields, web links. The user manager is something we're going to focus on a lot in the Beyond the Basics webinar. But for now, I'm going to select just single article here because we're going to feature just one article. Okay. We'll cover a lot of that other content. We'll create a featured article a little bit later today too, and do a couple other settings, of course, in the Beyond the Basics webinar. The menu title, you could change this. If you wanted to, you could change it to Bistro Home if you like. I'm going to just leave it as Home. Alias is important too. Now the alias is part of your URL. Okay, so as you create other menu items, the alias, inside landing pages for your site, the alias will appear in your URL. And Joomla will autofill this for you, or you can create your own custom alias. Perhaps we'll show that off a little bit later today. Of course, menu location, really important. Which menu do you want to save this to? We only have one active menu on our site anymore, the main menu, so we'll just leave it set to that. But of course, you can create additional menus and add them to different menu items to different pages. This is really important over here. This is where we actually, under required settings, this is where we link the article we wrote to this menu item. So let's select this menu item, and we'll select Welcome to the Bistro, the article we wrote, and let's go ahead and save. We're going to leave this open in case we want to work on it a little bit. We get our blue message here. A lot of other information. We haven't really talked about this, but there are all sorts of settings in the parameters area. And this was there in our article manager and our category manager as well. Article options, page display options, things that you're going to want to learn about as you develop. Again, we're just covering the basics today. Let's return to the front end and refresh the page. And we see our single article show up finally. So we're finally getting our own content on the site, which is great. And if I return to the module map, I'll show you that that content fits in this one module position here. This is our main body content. This is static, okay? As we add different modules to our site, that static content will stay the same. It'll shrink into this little area. Right now it's expanding the entire horizontal area of the site because we don't have any of those modules. Something we'll do in just a minute. Let's go ahead and save and close this menu item though. So we have the one home menu item. Let's go back to Site and Control Panel. And we want to create some more content. Let's create some additional content. So we'll go back to our Article Manager. And I'm going to create a new article. We'll create a number of them here. Kind of repeat this process can be helpful for our new users. Let's create some menu items. I'm going to create a porterhouse steak article for our menu items. And let's go ahead and paste in our content again. And insert, scrolling down. Again, we can use our editor to edit this a little bit. We want to create a heading. Heading 2, I'm going to insert another image. Go back to that image manager. And let's go back to that upload button. Browse our computer. And let's select our porterhouse steak right here. And just to illustrate that you can select 2 images. Let's open those. So I can't upload 2 images at once. Let's browse, let's upload those to our Joomla instance. And again, I've uploaded both, but I still need to select the image I want to feature in my article. It's this image. I'm going to do, let's do right text wrapping here. Let's add in a margin of 5 pixels and insert. Okay, let's go ahead and select Save and New. Let's do shish kebabs. I believe that's how I spell shish kebabs. I think so. Let's insert some text. Paste that in there. I forgot this step. I want to make sure I save this into my menu items category. Stay organized. Create a heading here. Heading 2, let's insert another image. That second image we uploaded just a moment ago. And it's going to be, where is that? Right here. There it is. I'll do right alignment on this one as well with a margin of 5. And insert. And let's do save and close. Actually, save and new. We'll do one more article at this point. Let's just call this one Desserts. Put it in the menu items category. Paste as plain text. Insert. One more heading. Insert our image. I'm going to browse my computer again. I should have an image of a dessert. Here it is. Upload. I'm going to do right alignment with a margin and insert. There we go. So let's save and close. So now I have 3 additional articles. Okay. Now a couple things to notice here. You can note which category is they're saved in, and article ordering can be important if you're featuring a list of articles on the front end. You want to reorder those. You also see the access level. You can change the access level, something again we're going to talk about in the Beyond the Basics webinar. Give access only to specific users for this content. You see who wrote it, the date it was written on, the number of hits the article has received. It can be really great information to have. Notice here too how you get the status, and all of these articles are published. You can click on this. For instance, let's unpublish the Welcome to the Bistro. It's an unpublished article now. If we return to our home page and refresh, we're going to receive the 404 article not found. That's because we unpublished the article, and so nothing's really showing up on our page. And if you ever receive that 404, it's a common error. You're going to want to retrace your steps and make sure everything's published and linked together correctly. So let's republish and refresh, and we get our Bistro article reappearing. You also have this column, which is the featured column. we're going to go ahead and click on this to feature those 3 articles we just wrote. Now, once we create another menu item for featured articles, we can display 3 different articles on one page, and really infinitely many articles that you create. So let's go back to our menu manager. We'll open up our main menu, and we're going to add a new menu item. Click on the New button. So we already have that single article. We're going to do multiple articles on one page now. Select that menu item type, and it's going to be Featured Articles here. Let's title this one Browse Our Menu. And again, the alias is helpful. Joomla will autofill this, but this will be part of our URL. You'll see in just a moment. I'll show you what that looks like on the front end. Which menu do we want this to appear on? Our main menu, and then over here, really important, which category do we want to pull from? Right now we're doing all categories, but you could limit this to just the menu items, but you can feature articles in multiple categories or articles in just one category. It's really up to you. Okay, we're just going to leave that as all categories right now. Let's go ahead and save this and then return to our front end and refresh the page, and we get our Browse Our Menu. Click on this link, and just notice how we get our 3 articles showing up on one page. Now, a couple things to notice here. Again, here's that alias, Browse Our Menu, that's created for you. You can customize that, of course, if you want. You can customize your URL a little bit. Let's just change this to Menu and save. If we return to the front end and refresh the page, we get that 404 again, and that's because we're still using this old alias, but we changed our alias. So we want to go back a page. Let's click on Browse Our Menu now, and, oops, I want to refresh this page too. Browse Our Menu now, it will take us to our menu page, and notice how our URL has changed. Okay, a couple other things to notice here. Number one, we have these article options that are published, and you have the category name and the date and the author and the hits, the print and email icons. We want to get rid of those. And I also don't like this layout. I want to change the layout, and all of that is possible within the back end of Joomla. Now, if I go to the back end, I can change my layout here, right? I can add different columns and links, and then go to the article options here to turn off those details. This is only for this one menu item, though. Let's say I want to turn off article options for all of my menu items. Okay, I wouldn't want to change that just for this menu item. I want to go back to my article manager and visit my article options. I can also do a default layout for that, for all of my featured article menu item types, which will also be for my category blog menu item types. So instead of doing that just for this one menu item, let's do it for all of them. So let's save and close the menu item here. We'll go back to article options. So we're going to go to Content and Article Manager, and we'll click on the Options button in the toolbar right here, these 2 little light switches. And this is the global setting for all of our articles. So here we have the Articles tab. What do we want to show within our articles? This is the article details, or these are the article details. Here we have Show Title. We can link our title. These are fine. I do want to show my intro text if I want to insert a Read More button in the future. But I want to hide my category. I want to not link my category. I want to hide my author. And you see there are many options here. I want to hide the published date, the navigation. I'm going to leave Read More to show. This is useful. Again, I'll show you this during the Beyond the Basics webinar. We want to show title with Read More too. This is how many characters within the Read More button. Not really applicable to what we're doing at this point, but we'll leave it like that. We'll hide all of these other icons as well, and let's click on Save. Get the blue message. Let's return to the front now, refresh the page, and all of those details have now disappeared, okay, which is what I want. Let's change the layout too. In the back end, we can go to the blog and featured layouts. Again, this is relative to the featured article menu item type and the category blog menu item type, something we'll show you in just a moment. So let's change this. Leading articles, I'm going to set to 0. Intro articles, I only have 3, so I'll just set it to 3. How many columns would I like? I'd like 3 columns. And I'm going to just set links to 0. And this is my global setting. Okay, so let's save. get the blue message, return and refresh, and our layout should change a little bit. So we get our three items back to back, or side to side. So it looks a little bit better. Of course, we're just using the lorem ipsum text, and it looks okay though. Looks pretty good. Now let's create an additional menu item. Just kind of repeat the process one more time. We'll just do one more single article. Let's just call this one reservations. So in the back end, we're going to save and close. I just want to show you one additional function of the editor. Click on the new button. Let's call this one reservations. Put this in my reservations and locations category and paste in our plain text. Insert. Create a heading out of this. Insert another image. And browse my computer. Here we go. Upload. Let's put this left alignment with a margin of 5 and insert. Let's link some text. I'm going to highlight the text here. Let's just say this says Porterhouse Steak. I want to link this to that internal article I have for Porterhouse Steak. I'm going to click on this little chain link icon in the editor. And what I can do is I can browse for my content here, or I can add an external URL if I wanted to point it to an outside site. Okay, I can search for my content here. So let's just search for steak. And notice how my Porterhouse Steak article appears. So I can link that just like that. The URL is complete up at the top. Or if I really wanted to, I could X that out. I can open up my content and then open up my menu items, kind of manually select my content. So we'll select steak here. And then I can even have the target open up into a new window if I'd like to. Okay, and insert. So notice how the text is highlighted and it's underlined. And let's save and close this menu item, or this article. We need to create the menu item for it. So we'll go to Menus, Main Menu, Add New Menu Item Type. We'll just do another single article for now. And create the menu title. Reservations. Select an article. Reservations here. We just wrote it. So we'll go in our main menu, and let's save. Return to the front end and refresh. Here we have reservations. Let's click on it. And no article details. Let's click on our link to see if that goes to Porterhouse Steaks, and it should, and it does open up into a new window. So that's pretty good. Let's close that. And you know, I didn't point that out though. If you go to your browser menu item, we left our titles as linked titles. So if we click on that title, it's going to open up into a new window. Okay. Let's go back though. I suppose let's create one more article. I want to show you how to create a sub menu item. A really useful feature. You want a drop down menu item. We're going to create a locations drop down underneath reservations. Okay. So let's say we are a franchise. We've opened up a second location. I'm going to save and close this. Let's go to our content and article manager, add a new article. Let's just title this one Locations. Put this in the Locations and Reservations category. Paste plain text and insert. I'll create a heading out of this, but we won't bother inserting an image. I should probably do a map here or a list of images. We could embed a Google map if we wanted to into the site. But let's go ahead and save and close this article. We'll go back, Menus, Main Menu, Add New Menu Item. Menu item type, just another single article. Probably the most popular menu item type. You'll select a single article. We'll title it Locations. Select the article we want to feature. Locations. And let's save and close this. And notice right now how all of my menu items are left aligned. And if I return to the front end, you can see Locations is in our main menu. It's a root item on our main menu. I want to make this a drop-down, though, underneath Reservations. Okay, so what I'll do in the back end is I'll open up the Locations menu item again. And what I'm looking for is the parent item. again, right now it's a root item on the main menu. I'm going to drop this down and select Reservations. So Reservations becomes the parent and Locations becomes the child. If I select Save and Close here, Locations is now indented underneath Reservations, showing me that parent-child relationship. And if I return to the front end of the site, refresh the page, we're actually going to get a 404 on that page, and that's because the URL had changed. Let's go back and refresh this page. You're going to see Locations disappear. Locations is gone, but notice the arrow in the drop-down. And I click on that, it's going to take me to my Locations article. And the reason why we got that 404 a moment ago is because the URL changed. It's because that's now a sub-menu item, a child menu item of Reservations, and then we have the Locations article. Okay, so we've done a lot of work so far, but we haven't really talked about one of the coolest parts of Joomla, which is modules. We only have our static content, and we want to start creating modules for our site. So one of the most popular things to do is create a nice big banner for our company, or our restaurant, for marketing purposes, kind of show off who we are. And the first step in creating a module is to pick a position for your module. I'm going to go back to our module map, and I want to pick a nice big area to show off a nice big image about our company. So I'm going to pick this showcase image here, the showcase module position. And that's going to go below my navigation, right, but above my content. So if we look at the front end, that's going to appear in this space here once we create it. So let's go to the back end, and we want to go to our module manager now. So let's go to Site and Control Panel. The module manager isn't a place where we've been yet in this webinar. So let's click on the module manager, also available under Extensions and Module Manager. Now I should illustrate that, remember how we installed that JCE a little bit ago, and that if you install a component, it will appear here in this components list. That's the JCE editor. If you install a module, it's going to appear in this list. And you see there are many in our site already, and we're going to, of course, delete these, just as we did with our categories, our articles, and our menus and our menu items. These are all modules we don't need in our site. You can recreate these at any point. They're all core modules. You click on the New button. I'll illustrate in just a moment. I don't want to raise any red flags. You can get all of this functionality. It's still in your site. Okay, so let's select all of these modules we don't need. I'm going to scroll down, and the only one I want to leave is my main menu. Okay, that's the main menu that's being displayed at the top of the site here. Okay, we're going to delete everything else and none of it is relative to our template. Of course, modules are all relative to the template you're using, and they're assigned to different positions. We don't have any modules assigned to these positions. The only exception is this Cloud-based 2.0 logo. I'm going to show you how to delete this in just a moment and get your own custom logo in there. So we want to deselect main menu. Let's scroll back up, and we'll throw these modules in the trash. We have 43 trashed modules with only our main menu left. If we return to the front end and refresh, nothing's going to change, and that's because those modules, of course, weren't assigned to positions in this template. So we just kind of did some cleaning of some of that sample data. But let's create a new module. We'll show you how to permanently delete those modules in just a moment, but let's create a new module. Of course, these are all the different module types you have to pick from. These are core Joomla modules. You can always browse the extensions directory to install a new module. We'll install more during the Beyond the Basics webinar, but for now, we're going to use core features. And of course, you can list categories. You can create a breadcrumbs module, a menu module, search modules, web links and wrapper modules, all really important. Banners, this is for clickable advertisements. Latest news, login form, really functional if you want to have users log into the front end. But whenever you want to customize text and images inside a module, custom HTML is your choice. And I like the word custom. It's because you can customize the images and text within the module. That's what we want to select for this one. It's probably the most popular module type. Let's create a title for this one. I'm going to call this the Bistro Banner, and we'll show the title for now. We want to select that position. Remember, we said we want to use the showcase position, right? So in the back end, we'll click on Select Position, and this will let me pick a position from any of the templates in my site. And I can filter my search here. I'm going to select just the Cloud-based 2.0 template, and I should probably go back and delete any templates I'm not using. select Cloud-Based 2.0, and then I can use the search filter up at the top. So I'll search for show and select showcase. Select this. And if I scroll down, I can use my editor, again my JCE, to insert that image. So I'm going to browse my computer again for that image. And I've got some nice banners here. Some of them are pretty good. I think I'll select, actually, do I have a, yeah, I'll select this one. Now I've already edited this for size, okay? I've already knew I wanted this to be 922 by 260, so I edited this. I'm going to select it and upload, and select the image and insert, and there I get my nice big bistro banner that I like. Okay, let's go ahead and save the bistro banner. We'll keep it open though. We get our blue message. Let's return to the front end and refresh. And there's our nice big bistro banner. A couple things though. Number one, I don't like the title appearing here. And this is on all of our pages. I only want this on specific pages. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Number one, let's turn the title off, hide. And I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom here, menu assignment. What pages do I want it on? Right now it's on all pages. I'll select only the pages selected from this list. I'll clear the selections and I'll select just the home page. Okay, I only want it on my home page. And let's save. We'll return to the front end, refresh. It should disappear from our locations page, which it does. Let's go to our home page. It is still here, but notice there's no title. Okay, now let's talk about creating a logo for our site. Okay, let's create a logo for our site. We want to get rid of this Cloud-Based 2.0 logo, and we want to create our own logo. So first, let's create our own logo. I want to select a position for this. I like the header A position for my logo. It's going to be in the top of the page above my navigation bar, but header A is going to stretch to fill this entire horizontal space unless I select these other header positions. Okay, so I want to select header A, and it will actually fit the entire space, and I'm going to center it on the page. So in the back end, let's save and close this module. Create a new module, click on New. This is going to be another custom HTML. We'll do a few different module types in just a moment. Let's title this one our logo. I want to hide the title on this. Select the position. This time I'm going to search for header A and select it. I'm going to scroll down to my custom output, select that image, and browse my computer. I do have a logo ready to go for the bistro. Let's select it and upload. I'll select it here and insert. So there's my logo. Let's go ahead and save this. Return to the front end and refresh. And there's my bistro logo. Again, we'll get rid of the Cloud-Based in a moment. I do want this centered though, just to illustrate. Let's highlight the image and center it. And save. Return to the front end and refresh. And so now the logo is centered. And again, even though that's header A stretches that entire horizontal area unless you select the other header positions. Okay, so let's do a few different modules, or we'll do one more module. We'll show you how to create a side menu module, and then we'll go back to our template. We'll remove the logo and change the colors so we have a little bit more cohesive color scheme going on here, and then hopefully we'll get to some of your questions and answers. You can always, again, find that slide out question area, post a question to me, or raise a hand. I can bring you live into the webinar if you like to. So in the back end, we're going to save and close this module. Let's create one more. And first, let's pick a position. It's going to be a side menu, and I'm going to put this in the sidebar A position. And what you can do is you'll see how your content shrinks down into this one, kind of comes off to the side here once you select these sidebar positions. So in the back end, create a new module. This will be a menu module. Let's title this one our side menu. Select a position for it. We'll search for sidebar A and select it. And which menu do we want to feature? It's going to be our main menu. Just kind of add those same items off to the side. And I do want this on all pages. Actually, only the pages selected. I want to leave it off the Browse Our Menu page because that has, remember, that's our featured article, menu item type. So we'll leave that off here and save. We did remember our logo modules on all pages, and we do want that there. That's fine. Notice how it's on all pages. Okay, but Browse Our Menu, our side menu doesn't appear here. If we go to our reservations page, it will appear here. So the same options that are in our main menu are now off to the side. And if we go to Home, we get our side menu as well. So we're just increasing functionality. So now we want to get back to that template though. And of course, as I mentioned, we're going to delete the logo. We're going to change our color scheme too a little bit. And I also want to get rid of this copyright at the bottom, designed by Cloud Access. And then we'll get to your questions. Hopefully you have a few for me. In the back end, let's save and close the module. We'll go back to Extensions and Template Manager. We're going to make our site look a lot better right now. We'll open up the Cloud-Based 2.0. And we'll go to Style first off, and the background color. These tooltips, it seems like there's an error in the site right now. Let's close this. Again, let's open it back up. Those tooltips giving me an error, but I want to change the background color of the template. I'm going to return to the front end, and I'm going to show you a useful tool. And this is not Joomla. This is a Google Chrome plugin. An extension for my toolbar, which is the eyedropper. And this is going to allow me to select a color from my web page. And I actually selected this color already, but I'm going to pick it again and just show you how you can use the eyedropper to select this color. I really like that burgundy color. And then I go back to my eyedropper and it gives me the hexadecimal number for that color. So I'm going to copy that hexadecimal number, and then I'll return to the back end of my site. I'm going to paste that hexadecimal color into background color. Here I could, find a color there through the color selector, the color palette. But we'll paste that hexadecimal in there, and let's go ahead and save. And then we get our message here that the save was successful. Let's return to the front, refresh. So now we get our color there. We also want to change our menu colors, and we want to change our side module color, our module header. And once we save our headings, we can also do our headings in our menu. Those are going to be the same option, I believe, back here. So let's do module header color here, change this one, and save. I believe we should do our menu color as well. Drop-down menu here. I think I'm going to want this to be white. And then our drop-down background will do the same burgundy. Sometimes, of course, you have to play around and figure out which setting you're changing, but I think I just did them all. Okay, so we have our module header color, our menu colors, our drop-down color, we changed that to white, remember, in our background, so that matches as well. We do want to go change our heading, though, so let's go find that. Headlines right here. Paste that in and save. We really only have a one color scheme going on, one or two, but oops, did I not get it right? I guess I didn't. Headlines. Oops, I didn't save it. Save, and then refresh. That should be it, which it is. That's good. There are some presets too in the back end. You can use the presets button if you'd like to. The next thing, though, we want to go to features because we want to change. Let me actually save and close. Those tooltips are giving me an error here. We need to work on this template a little bit. But under features, I want to turn that logo off. This is the logo we're using for the site. It's in the header A position. You could change the position for that logo, but we want to turn that off. And we also want to go down to copyright. And right now this says designed by CloudAccess.net. We want to change this to designed by the Bistro. And let's save. return and refresh, and our logo should finally disappear, which it is. It's now gone, and the copyright at the bottom is now designed by the Bistro. So yeah, that's just about it for today. Let's see, a lot of different options here for you to start configuring. I suppose under Style, if I scroll down here, I do have the options to make my font settings change. I can select a different Google font. This is for my headings and my headlines. Your font within your articles you'll do through the JCE that we installed. I do like to change my default size. I like to go to large, just like a little bit bigger font. So let's save. But of course you could pick a different Google font here too. If you don't like Ubuntu, you could change this. Let's go to Taproom, for instance, and save. Let's go see what that looks like. Return and refresh. And we get just a little different font and a little bit bigger, and I kind of like that. So, you know, it's not a completely functional site. We're going to open this back up again on later this week. Let's go find out when that webinar is. Go to our site, go to training, go to live webinars, and so here's today's webinar, Learn the Basics of Joomla 2.5. We have a Learn the Basics of WordPress webinar later today, which is cool, but tomorrow, Thursday, May 8th, we have the second webinar in this series, and I hope you can register for this one. Come back. We're going to continue developing the Bistro site, add a lot more functionality to it. It's another hour-and-a-half session, and you know, we'd really appreciate it if you shared this webinar socially. If you didn't already realize this content was entirely free, and we only ask that you share it on Facebook or Twitter, Google+, or whatever social network you're using. Let people know that we're hosting these free of charge, and that we want to get as many attendees as we can. So hopefully you can come back for that one. We are hosting later this week an open forum webinar. So you can come back, and this is on Friday, come back and ask questions about Joomla. If you got all of your questions answered today, come back and ask questions here. You can speak directly with me, and I do invite some other programmers and developers to the webinar to answer your complex questions. Looks like the week after next we're going to host some Learn the Basics of Joomla 3 webinars, which are going to be really helpful. We host these frequently, and again, that's another two-part series. So we do hope you can attend any of our webinars in the near future. And you know, I like today's site, the Bistro. It's not too bad. And it is a 2.5 site, so it's an older version of Joomla. It looks pretty good, though. Again, we're going to add a ton more functionality tomorrow's webinar. But I do want to remind you, too, that we have a YouTube channel full of videos. I'm going to go to youtube.com/CloudAccess. And we have hundreds of videos here. We have over 9,000 subscribers. So if you subscribe to our channel, you'll receive a notification every time a new video will become available. I'm going to scroll down here, and we're going to put these in the Joomla webinars playlist. So there should be a playlist for Joomla webinars right here. So off to the side, you can select Joomla webinars. And this is going to be a Joomla Learn the Basics of 2.5. We need to get one of those webinars up here. So yeah, come back and watch everything we did today again. I want to thank everyone for attending. Good luck developing your Joomla site. Please visit us on Facebook if you'd like to. You can ask me some additional questions through Twitter. Let's go to our Facebook page here. And let's scroll down. You like us on Facebook. Send us some questions if you'd like to. Also find us on Twitter at CloudAccess if you want to tweet at us. That'd be really helpful. So yeah, good luck developing your Joomla site. We hope to see you again in the near future. And take it easy. Goodbye, everybody.